My name is Thomas Hale. I'm 62 years old, and for 40 years, I ran from my past. I didn't think it would ever catch up to me, not after all this time. But it did. Not loudly, not violently, just quietly. In the form of a letter sitting on the front porch of my garage. I remember that afternoon clearly. Same routine as always. I was sitting outside like I usually do. A cup of coffee in my hand, already cold. The old radio inside the shop was playing some news I wasn't really listening to. Life had become like that for me. Quiet, predictable, almost mechanical. Wake up, open the garage, fix cars, go home, sit outside, sleep, repeat. Days blending into each other until I sometimes had to stop and think just to remember what day it was. And honestly, I didn't mind it. Because silence doesn't ask questions. Silence doesn't demand answers. And over time, I got used to not being asked anything at all. Not about my past. Not about who I used to be. Not about the things I left behind. I had built a life that required no explanation. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Until I saw the letter. It was just sitting there, right on the wooden floor of my porch. No stamp, no return address, just my name, Thomas Hale, written by hand, clean, careful, like someone had spent a long time deciding how to write it. I knew immediately something was wrong, not because of what it said, but because of how it felt. Some things don't need words to feel heavy. I stood there for a moment, just staring at it. A part of me wanted to walk back inside, close the door, pretend I never saw it. I've done that before, more times than I can count. But something was different this time, so I picked it up. And the moment I did, I already knew. Whatever was inside that envelope, my life wasn't going to stay the same after reading it. I opened it. One sentence. That was all. It's time you tell the truth. No signature. No explanation. Just that. And somehow, that was enough. Because I already knew what it meant. That night, I didn't sleep. I just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. And for the first time in years, I stopped running from my thoughts. I let them come back, slowly, one by one. 40 years ago, I was 22. I didn't understand anything back then. Not really. I thought I did, but I didn't. Back then, I was in love with a woman named Caroline. We met at a small diner near the auto repair shop where I worked. She wasn't loud. She wasn't trying to be noticed. But there was something about her. Something steady. Something real. The kind of person you don't forget easily. We didn't have much. I was just a mechanic. She worked part-time at the diner. Life was simple. Hard, but simple. And we had plans. We talked about leaving that small town, starting over somewhere else, somewhere no one knew us, somewhere we could be different people. We didn't say it out loud often, but we both believed it, that we could build something better than what we came from. It wasn't a big dream, but it felt like enough. Until the day she told me she was pregnant. I still remember it. The small room. The dim light, the way she looked at me. Not angry, not scared, just waiting. Waiting for me to say something, anything. I should have, but I didn't. There was just silence, a long silence that felt heavier with every second. And inside that silence, I was thinking, but not about her, not about the child, just about myself. About how my life would change, about what I would lose, about what I wasn't ready for, and then I made a decision I would never be able to fully explain. I left. No goodbye. No explanation. I just walked away, and I never looked back. After that, life kept going, as it always does. I moved to another town, got a job, eventually opened a small auto repair shop. Nothing fancy, but enough to survive. From the outside, my life probably looked normal, stable even, but it wasn't a full life. It was carefully limited. I didn't get close to people, didn't start a family, didn't allow anything that might force me to explain my past. And over time, that became normal, comfortable even, or so I thought, until the letter came. The next morning after reading it, I closed the shop. For the first time in years, I didn't go through my routine. I just got in my truck and drove back to the town I left 40 years ago. The roads looked smaller than I remembered, but maybe that was just me. Everything else still felt the same. Gas stations, old signs, quiet streets, a place that didn't move on because of me. It moved on without me. I asked a few people around town. Some remembered Caroline, some didn't. Time does that. It erases things gently, until they only exist in memory. Eventually, I found the house. A small white home. A front yard carefully maintained. Someone had built a life here. A real one, just not with me in it. I stood at the door for a long time, not because I didn't know what to do, but because I did. And that was the problem. Once I knocked, there was no turning back. So I knocked. The door opened. A man stood there, about 40 years old, and I didn't need anyone to tell me. I knew immediately. "You're Thomas," he said. Not a question, a fact. I nodded. He stepped aside. "Come in." Inside the house were photos everywhere. Birthdays, family dinners, simple moments. A life built slowly over time. And I wasn't in any of them. We sat down. No one spoke for a moment. Then he said, "My mom told me about you." I swallowed. "Caroline, is she still here?" He shook his head. "No, she passed a few years ago." I nodded slowly. I had expected it, but hearing it still changed something inside me. He stood up, went into another room, and came back with an envelope. "I've had this for years," he said. "She wrote it before she passed, and told me to keep it." He looked at me. Not to send it, just to hold on to it. I didn't say anything. He placed it in my hands. She said, "If you ever came back, I should give it to you." My hands weren't steady as I opened it. I read it once, then again, slower. "If you're reading this, it means you came back. I waited for you. For a long time. Not to blame you, just to understand. But I learned something important. Some people leave, and they don't return. Not because they can't, but because they choose not to. I was angry, not because you left, but because you left like we didn't matter. I didn't hold on to that anger, because I had to raise our son, and I didn't want him growing up inside something heavy. I raised him alone. It wasn't easy, but he became a good man, and the one thing that surprised me most is that he doesn't hate you. He doesn't ask why you left. He just wants to know who you are. If you're here, don't leave again." I folded the letter and sat there. For a long time, I didn't know what to say. There wasn't anything that felt right. Finally, I spoke. "I'm not here for anything. I just didn't want to leave this world without telling the truth." He looked at me for a moment, Not angry, not emotional, just calm. Then he asked, "So why now?" I didn't answer right away, because, for the first time, I couldn't avoid it. Finally, I said, "Because at some point, you realize something." I paused. "It's not that you run out of time." I looked at him. "It's that you run out of chances."